Welcome to Prep Pass. Here are 20 real property and casualty insurance license practice questions with answers for 2026. Read each question, then try to answer before the 5-second timer runs out. For the full free practice test, just search preppass.org. Let's begin. Question 1. Which coverage part of the ISO personal auto policy promises to pay damages for bodily injury or property damage for which an insured becomes legally responsible because of an auto accident? Part A, liability coverage. B. Part B, medical payments coverage. C. Part C, uninsured motorists coverage. D. Part D, coverage for damage to your auto. The correct answer is Part A of the personal auto policy is liability coverage. It pays damages for bodily injury and property damage for which the insured is legally liable arising out of the ownership, maintenance, or use of a covered auto. Part B pays medical bills on a no-fault basis, Part C responds when the at-fault driver is uninsured, and Part D covers physical damage to the insured's own vehicle. Question 2. A covered vehicle is struck by a deer that bounds into the road. Under the personal auto policy, which physical damage coverage responds to this loss? A. Collision. B. Liability. C. Other than collision, comprehensive. D. Medical payments. The correct answer is C. Despite the impact, contact with a bird or animal is specifically classified as other than collision, commonly called comprehensive, under Part D of the personal auto policy, not as a collision loss. Comprehensive also includes losses from theft, vandalism, glass breakage, fire, and falling objects. The deductible the insured pays will be the comprehensive deductible shown on the declarations. Question 3. A California auto policyholder wants to decline uninsured motorist coverage. How may that election be made? A. It cannot be declined under any circumstances. B. By a verbal statement at policy inception. C. Automatically if liability limits are at least 25/50/15. D. By a written waiver signed by the named insured. The correct answer is D. Insurance Code Section 11580.2 requires that bodily injury be offered with every California auto liability policy at limits matching the liability limits but not less than the financial responsibility minimums. The named insured may reject in writing. The rejection is effective until withdrawn in writing. Higher liability limits do not automatically waive and an oral rejection is not valid. Question 4. Under California Proposition 103, an auto insurer setting a private passenger rate must give the greatest weight to which 3 primary rating factors before any optional or secondary factors are applied? A. Vehicle make, zip code, gender. B. Driving safety record, miles driven annually, years of driving experience. C. Credit score, marital status, occupation. D. Vehicle horsepower, color, garage type. The correct answer is B. Insurance Code Section 1861.02, added by Proposition 103 in 1988, requires that automobile rates be determined primarily by, in this order, 1. The insured's driving safety record, 2. The number of miles driven annually, and 3. The number of years of driving experience. Any secondary or optional factors permitted by the insurance commissioner must have less weight than each of the 3 primary factors. Question 5. Which best describes the California Low-Cost Automobile Insurance Program, CLCA? A. A federal subsidy that pays half of any policyholder's auto premium. B. A non-admitted carrier program that issues high-limit luxury auto coverage. C. A state-sponsored program that offers reduced-limit liability auto policies to income-eligible drivers. D. An auto insurance pool reserved for rideshare drivers. The correct answer is C. The California Low-Cost Auto Program, CLCA, was created under Insurance Code Section 11629.7 to give income-eligible good drivers an affordable liability-only policy. Limits are reduced from the standard 30/60/15 to 10/20/3, with optional medical payments and Eligibility is generally household income at or below 250% of the federal poverty level, age 16 or older, valid CA driver's license, and a vehicle worth less than $25,000. Question 6. On a business auto coverage form, an insured selects covered auto symbol 1. Which autos are covered for liability? A. Any auto. B. Only owned autos. C. Only specifically described autos. D. Only hired autos. The correct answer is A. On the business auto coverage form, CA0001, symbol 1 means any auto. It provides the broadest possible coverage and is generally only available for liability. Symbol 2 means owned autos only, symbol 7 means specifically described autos, symbol 8 means hired autos only, and symbol 9 means non-owned autos only. Question 7. A small contractor wants liability protection only for vehicles the business owns, but not for employee-owned cars used on the job. Which business auto symbol should the producer assign for liability? A. Symbol 1. B. Is symbol 2. C. Is symbol 8. D. Is symbol 9. The correct answer is B. Symbol 2 on the business auto coverage form covers owned autos only. Symbol 1 would extend coverage to any auto including employee-owned vehicles, which the contractor does not want. Symbol 8 covers hired autos only and symbol 9 covers non-owned autos only, neither of which fits a pure owned-only request. Question 8. Part B, medical payments, of the personal auto policy is best described as A. Liability coverage for injuries and insured causes to others. B. No-fault property damage coverage for the named insured's vehicle. C. No-fault coverage that pays reasonable medical and funeral expenses for the insured and passengers regardless of who caused the accident. D. Coverage that responds only when the at-fault driver carries insufficient liability limits. The correct answer is C. Part B. Medical payments is a small, no-fault first-party coverage that pays reasonable and necessary medical expenses, and, if applicable, funeral expenses, incurred within 3 years of an auto accident for the named insured, family members, and others occupying a covered auto. Fault is not considered. Liability for injuries to others is Part A, and coverage for an at-fault driver's low limits is underinsured motorist under Part C. Question 9. An insured backs out of his driveway and dents the rear bumper against a mailbox. Which Part D coverage pays for the damage to his car? A. Collision. B. Other than collision, comprehensive. C. Liability. D. Uninsured motorist's property damage. The correct answer is A. Collision coverage under Part D pays for damage to the covered auto caused by impact with another vehicle or object, including stationary objects such as mailboxes, light poles, and walls. Liability, Part A, would only respond to damage to the mailbox owner's property, not the insured's own car. Comprehensive applies to causes such as fire, theft, vandalism, and animal contact, not impact with stationary objects. Question 10. When California bodily injury coverage is purchased without a written waiver, what is the minimum amount the insurer must offer? At $10,000 per person / $20,000 per accident. B. $30,000 per person / $60,000 per accident. C. $25,000 per person / $50,000 per accident. D. $100,000 per person / $300,000 per accident. The correct answer is B. Insurance Code Section 11580.2 requires that bodily injury be offered at limits equal to the policy's liability limits, but not less than the financial responsibility minimum of $30,000 per person and $60,000 per accident. SB 1107 raised this minimum effective January 1, 2025, up from the former $15,000 / $30,000. The named insured may, in writing, elect higher matching limits or reduced limits, but not below 30/60ths, or waive altogether. Question 11. Which commercial auto coverage form is designed specifically for franchised and independent automobile dealers, including coverage for both the dealer's premises operations and the autos held for sale? A. Business auto coverage form. B. Motor carrier coverage form. C. Auto dealers, garage, coverage form. D. Truckers coverage form. The correct answer is C. The auto dealers coverage form, CA 0025, historically called the garage coverage form, is built for new and used auto dealers. It combines auto liability for the dealer's operations, garage keepers coverage on customer vehicles left for service, and physical damage on the dealer's inventory autos. The business auto form and motor carrier form do not address dealer-specific exposures such as customers' autos held for service. Question 12. A small consulting firm has its employees drive their own personal vehicles to client sites. Which business auto coverage symbol should the firm assign to pick up liability for the firm arising out of an employee's use of his or her own car for business? At symbol 9, non-owned autos only. B. A symbol 2, owned autos only. C. A symbol 7, specifically described autos. D. A symbol 4, owned commercial autos only. The correct answer is A. Symbol 9, non-owned autos only, covers autos the named insured does not own, lease, hire, rent, or borrow, including employee-owned vehicles used in the business. This protects the company from vicarious liability when an employee causes an accident while running a business errand in their personal car. The employee's own PAP remains primary. Symbol 9 typically responds excess. Question 13. A florist regularly rents box trucks during the holiday rush to make deliveries. Which business auto symbol most accurately picks up coverage on those rented trucks? A. Symbol 2, owned autos only. B. A symbol 7, specifically described autos. C. A symbol 8, hired autos only. D. A symbol 9, non-owned autos only. The correct answer is C. Symbol 8 means hired autos only, vehicles the named insured leases, hires, rents, or borrows, other than from employees, partners, or members of their households. Renting box trucks from a commercial rental agency is the classic hired auto exposure. Symbol 2 wouldn't apply because the trucks are not owned. Symbol 9 wouldn't apply because the trucks are not employee-owned / non-owned in that sense. Question 14. How are physical damage losses normally settled under the Personal Auto Policy Part D? A. Replacement cost without depreciation. B. Actual cash value, ACV, or cost to repair, whichever is less, minus the deductible. C. Agreed value listed on the declarations. D. Stated amount with no consideration of depreciation. The correct answer is B. Unless an optional endorsement, such as auto loan / lease coverage CA 2304 or replacement cost endorsement, is added, Part D pays the lower of A. The actual cash value, ACV, of the damaged property, or b. the amount necessary to repair or replace the property with like kind and quality, less the applicable deductible. ACV is generally market or book value at the time of loss, taking depreciation into account. Question 15. After a covered auto accident, which of the following is not one of the insured's duties under Part E of the personal auto policy? A. Promptly notify the insurer of the accident. B. Cooperate with the insurer in the investigation, settlement, or defense of any claim or suit. C. Submit to physical exams or examinations under oath when reasonably requested. D. Independently settle and pay the third party's claim before contacting the insurer. The correct answer is D. Part E lists the insured's duties: prompt notice to the insurer, cooperation, submission to physical exams and examinations under oath, prompt forwarding of legal papers, providing written proof of loss, and protecting the damaged vehicle from further loss. The policy specifically requires the insured not to make voluntary payments or independently settle, except at the insured's own cost. Doing so can prejudice the insurer and may be grounds for denial. Question 16. Under Part F of the personal auto policy, an insurer wishing to non-renew a private passenger auto policy in California must give the named insured at least how many days advance written notice? A. 20 days. B. 10 days. C. 5 days. D. 45 days. The correct answer is A. California Insurance Code Section 663 requires at least 20 days written notice before non-renewal of a personal auto policy. Cancellations for non-payment of premium require at least 10 days. Other mid-term cancellations for permitted reasons typically require 20 to 30 days. The 45-day notice answer is incorrect. It relates to certain homeowners' non-renewals, not auto. Question 17. A California household has 2 private passenger autos insured on 2 separate policies, each with $100,000 limits. After an accident caused by an uninsured driver, can the injured insured combine, stack, both limits to recover up to $200,000? A. Yes, stacking is always allowed in California. B. Yes, but only if both policies are with the same insurer. C. No, California generally prohibits the stacking of limits across policies or vehicles. D. Only if the at-fault driver consents in writing. The correct answer is C. California Insurance Code Section 11580.2 contains an anti-stacking clause. The maximum recovery is the highest limit shown on any one policy or for any one vehicle, not the sum of all the policies or vehicles. This rule prevents an insured from collecting more than the highest single applicable limit, regardless of how many policies they own. Question 18. California law requires drivers to carry which item in the vehicle as evidence of financial responsibility, ready to present on demand? A. Original copy of the policy declarations only. B. Notarized letter from the insurer. C. A Department of Motor Vehicles State Route 22 in every case. D. An automobile insurance identification card showing the insurer's name and policy number. The correct answer is D. Vehicle Code Section 16020 requires drivers to carry written evidence of financial responsibility. The standard evidence is the auto insurance ID card the insurer is required to issue under Insurance Code Section 1872.85. The card must be in the vehicle and presented to law enforcement on demand. And State Route 22 is only required for high-risk drivers after specific violations. A notarized letter is not the standard. Question 19. Under Part A of the personal auto policy, who qualifies as an insured for liability purposes? A. The named insured, family members, and any person using a covered auto with permission. B. Only the named insured and the spouse. C. Only individuals whose names are listed on the declarations. D. Anyone driving any vehicle anywhere. The correct answer is A. Part A defines insured broadly to include 1. The named insured and any family member for the ownership, maintenance, or use of any auto, 2. Any person using your covered auto with permission, and 3. Any person or organization legally responsible for the acts of an insured. This is why permissive users, lending the car to a friend, are protected. Permission is the trigger. Question 20. California underinsured motorist, UIM, coverage applies when A. The at-fault driver has no insurance at all. B. The insured has a single car accident with no other driver involved. C. The at-fault driver's liability limits are lower than the insured's UIM limits and have been exhausted by other claims. D. The insured's vehicle is damaged by hail. The correct answer is C. California UIM coverage applies when the at-fault driver does carry liability insurance, but the limits are insufficient, lower than the insured's UIM limits, and those liability limits have been exhausted by payment of judgments or settlements. The UIM coverage then pays the difference between the at-fault driver's limits and the insured's UIM limits, up to the policy's UIM amount. Uninsured driver equals UM, underinsured equals UIM. That's all 20 questions. Want the full insurance practice test with hundreds of questions, completely free? Just search preppass.org. Good luck on your exam.